Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. It is Tuesday, July 2nd. I've got very big news to share with you. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, also smash the like button, and this is not financial or investment advice. Let's take a look at the market. Bitcoin looking very strong right now. We're seeing a recovery currently sitting at $11,149, up 6.25% from a 24-hour perspective. The rest of the market is still moving a bit sideways, but we're seeing a slight uptick for altcoins. Ethereum at $294, Xrp at just over 40 cents, but Bitcoin looking good here. So the market generally follows Bitcoin. We haven't decoupled from Bitcoin as yet. So let's see how things progress. Remember, markets move in cycles. There's going to be corrections along the way up. We saw a very strong mini parabolic run up to near 14,000, right? If I'm not mistaken here, or was it just over 13? And anytime you have those type of strong run ups, you have to expect a strong correction. These are just market principles. People take profits and so forth. So we are seeing some level of recovery here, and I think we're going to continue to head upwards. We are certainly in a bull market, and you're going to have mini bull runs along the way, of course. So let's see here. We had make sure I get the right price for you guys here. So it was at 13,000, near 13,800. So close to 14,000. And then of course the big drop off where we found a bottom of around 10,500. And then we pushed back up a bit, and then we went back down. And it looks like we went further down, and now we're back over 11,000. So that's a good sign. So let's see how things progress. And in the short term, these little roller coaster rides are obviously not ideal, but in the long term, we know we're headed to higher prices, higher highs, higher lows. If you zoom out on the chart, right, even look at the all-time chart, even the one-year chart, guys, we are up significantly, versus the lows that we saw last year. So patience is the key. Now, we got some big news. Yesterday, we heard ErisX got their approval from the CFTC for physically backed Bitcoin futures, and I certainly expect Bakkt to get their approval soon. And they published a blog post here, or an article. As you guys know, they partnered with BNYMellon, the bank. So they mentioned the following: a preview of crypto's next act from BNYMellon with commentary from Bakkt's CEO Kelly Loeffler. Convergence of investor demand and regulatory certainty is being driven by the advent of more infrastructure. We always talk about that on this channel, that we are in the infrastructure stage to support access and trust in this market. So essentially, they're just outlining some of their vision and where we're at and where we're headed. So you got to have that perspective, right, of what's being built. And they talk about exchange hacks, fraud, lost keys, and so forth. But these big players, such as Bakkt and ErisX and LedgerX and so on, are going to set a new standard for custody and making sure you're able to secure your portfolio, your cryptos, and of course being able to easily spend it. So Bakkt is going to be partnered with Starbucks, and you'll be able to spend your crypto respectively in Starbucks. And once again, some call out on the market is evolving rapidly across the number of dimensions: product, technology, and regulatory. And they said here, we are seeing the convergence of investor demand for digital asset alongside regulatory certainty, which we believe is being driven by the advent of more infrastructure support and access and trust in this market. So things are moving ahead. The big players are getting involved. So I hope you see what's happening in this new asset class, guys. We're very early. If you want to make the analogy, we're in 1996 of the internet, the dot-com boom, right? Very early dial-up days. And you still have your players, your big players who are now trying to build their services, right? Like your Googles, your Amazon, and so forth. So big things are ahead, guys. Now, some really bullish news here. Blockchain's CEO acquires Kirkwood Bank of Nevada for $28 million. And this is Blockchain's LLC. Many of you may recall Blockchain's LLC and the project they are building in Nevada. It's huge. They're building essentially a new technological community that's going to be powered by blockchain. Specifically, they will be using Ethereum to power the whole city essentially, and it is of course near where all the major factories for Google and Tesla and so forth are placed. So they purchase a bank, guys. This is big because one of the challenges that blockchain crypto companies have is getting financing. So smart move here by their CEO, and it says here in a quote, "Purchasing the bank was basically security for me, that to make sure that blockchains and myself had access to the financial system. But secondarily, it's to create an environment where the blockchain ecosystem, the legitimate businesses out there, are trying to build projects that are going to empower individual and better world, and the better world, that they have a bank that understands what they're doing and isn't fearful." So a huge infrastructure piece here being built, a part of the puzzle, and that's having financing. So acquiring a bank is really big, guys. So huge shout out to the folks at Blockchains LLC, and of course they're doing some big work out there in Nevada, guys. And if you guys recall, that was reported by the New York Times. Let me pull it up here because I always want to make sure you guys have the facts. And it's not I'm making this up or pulling it out of the air, right, guys? We're about the facts here, and that you can have certainty or confidence in what's happening. So let me show you here the article from the New York Times. So obviously really big exposure being on the New York Times. So many of you recall this. A cryptocurrency millionaire wants to build a utopia in Nevada. So obviously they mentioned Blockchains LLC right here. Let me see if I can find a mention of Ethereum, which is one of the reasons I'm so bullish on Ethereum, guys. And let's see here. I want to make sure pull it up for you. So here it goes. Let's see. Yeah, Ethereum is what he believes makes this community more than just a giant real estate project. To understand why requires more than a bit of imagination and faith. Every resident and employee will have what amounts to an Ethereum address, which they will use to vote on local measures and store their personal data. Mr. Burns believes Ethereum will give people a way to control their identity and online data without any governments or companies involved. Anyway, I don't need to go further. Obviously, cryptocurrency will be the currency within this new community, and obviously they have a mock-up here of what it will look like. Check that out, guys, in Nevada, and it's going to be a futuristic city. So, guys, these things are not making like headlines on CNN or CNBC or Fox Business or whatever, right? But look at the money, look at the acquisitions that are taking place. The future of this asset class is very bright, and I hope you will have the patience to go through the roller coaster ride of prices to when we hit that point, that point of where all of these things come to fruition, and we are a well-oiled machine moving forward. And you will be rewarded greatly because we are very early. We're getting at the low prices, and the prices that we see now, years from now, we will not see again. Just as we won't see a $10 Ethereum or a $10 Bitcoin, a $100 Bitcoin. You guys get the point. Now, crypto is global, so I like to report the global news because unlike the 90s with the dot-com boom where you had to be an accredited investor, now you don't. Any average Joe can invest in crypto, and it's global. There's a lot of exchanges and fiat on-ramps being built around the globe. So UK regulators approve first cryptocurrency hedge funds. Now we've had a lot of hedge funds. Well, we have a lot of hedge funds here in the United States, but surprisingly, the UK just approved their first. Prime Factor Capital was the first crypto hedge fund approved as a full-scope alternative investment fund manager by the Financial Conduct Authority. Though approved by the UK watchdog, the firm will abide by European regulations. Under these guidelines, the firm will be allowed to hold more than 100 million euros in assets under management. Do I need to go further? You guys know how hedge funds work, and they're going to be putting their money in crypto, guys. I mean, it's amazing to see this happening. The Winklevoss twins continue to make some strategic moves here, guys. Gemini to apply for broker-dealer license in bid to trade crypto securities. I got to give these guys credit. They don't give up. They keep going. They got their ETF rejected, but they don't care. They keep going. The Winklevoss-owned crypto exchange Gemini will apply for a broker-dealer license from the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, also known as FINRA. This is the first step toward becoming an approved alternative trading system where customers can lawfully swap digital currencies. Gemini previously partnered with the tokenized securities partner Harbor, which allows institutional investors to buy securities with Gemini's GUSD stablecoin and also receive dollar-denominated dividends via GUSD. So amazing stuff happening, guys. Now, BitMEX, which is a huge exchange, of course, is preparing to launch Bitcoin zero coupon bond as it eyes the fixed income market. So one of the quotes here is Bitcoin perpetual swaps are the most liquid market, and BitMEX is looking to get bonds out there, guys. So, I mean, so many financial products and instruments are being built. Now, we got some big XRP news here, guys, some big Ripple XRP news. Many of you know about the Ripple Xpring initiative, which uses XRP to fund different companies in the effort to get XRP utilized within their ecosystems and marketplaces. You guys have seen my interview with the CEO and founder of Omni, the storage company, which is leveraging XRP. They were Spring funded. They were one of the first Spring funded companies. I've interviewed their CEO multiple times. I will be doing a follow-up interview with him once they complete their phase 2 integration of XRP. So Ethan Beard, who's part of the Spring division, said it's been 1 year since we launched Spring to help grow the XRP ecosystem. So that's the goal. It's not just to throw money at companies, it's to get them to leverage XRP, building new use cases. Here's a look back at some of the thoughts on how we'll continue to make it easier for developers to build projects on what? XRP. He published a full blog post here and going through all the different companies and the amount of money. So Spring has quickly grown to date. They said we have committed $500 million in support for over 20 companies, ranging from independent developer projects to larger scale partnerships. And one such, guys, of course, is Fort, the gaming platform. That's going to be huge. In-game payments. And of course, Coil, the micropayments platform. And they talk about Bolt Labs, Securitize. I've interviewed the president and founder and co-founder of Securitize. You guys have seen that. Dharma, WeSwin, XRPL Labs. Guys, so many things being built around XRP. We just got to be patient. That's just one end of the spectrum. The other end is MoneyGram and payment service providers and banks will be using XRP to move money. And then you have the micro payments and ecosystems and marketplaces. So they're capturing, the market holistically. And that's very smart, very smart. And once again, if you haven't seen these interviews with Tom McLeod, there's a lot to learn here if you want to understand how Spring works. So definitely check that out, guys. Nick Bougalis, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he works at Ripple. He's a cryptographer and software engineer. So during this Cloudflare outage, there was a Cloudflare outage. Many of you who may not know about Cloudflare, it's a hosting provider. The XRP ledger kept ticking and closed ledgers without any interruption. Decentralized and heavily distributed blockchain-based systems are ushering the new era of service reliability. So because you have multiple nodes and people hosting different nodes, even if 5 of them go down, right, you still have a whole variety. And let's say Ripple goes down as one of the nodes, you still have the others running it. So this is great to hear, and here you can see CoinDesk talked about it because it made Coinbase go down, CoinMarketCap, and other top crypto sites. Now, I wanted to share this because there's some things we need to read into here. One of Ripple's employees, which is her name is Catherine Coley. She worked at Ripple as the SVP of. Let me back up here. Big congrats to Ripple's former head of XRP Institutional Liquidity. So she was the head of the XRP Institutional Liquidity, and her role as CEO of BAM, operator of Binance US. So she has moved to Binance's US platform, right? Their company that's going to be in the US. Awesome to see outstanding Ripple alums like her going out and impacting broader crypto ecosystem. So She left on good terms because we had Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, and many other employees congratulating her. If someone left on bad terms, you don't go out and tweet, "Oh, this person was great," and congrats to them, right? I think it's pretty obvious. Now, what's great about it is if she understands XRP and what Ripple is doing. So could they be doing something with, could that be a foot in the door for Ripple with Binance to do greater things? It's very possible. And she also tweeted here, grateful to have developed XRP markets and liquidity alongside an amazing team at Ripple to partner now with Binance, etc., etc. So let's see what comes out of this, guys. But once again, she left on a positive note. Here you have Ripple, Ripple's, I forgot his title, man, but it's Dilip Roa, wishing her the best and so forth. So big things happening here. And somebody, I forgot, I think he was from the block, started tweeting some FUD saying, "Oh my gosh, Ripple employees dropping like flies." And it's like, dude, no, she moved on. People leave companies and left on great terms. It wasn't like a bad ending where she got fired. So Ethereum leaders are slowly courting Gulf Coast royals and investors. So Ethereum looking to get more investors here, and they're going after that oil money, guys. Ethereum leaders are pursuing a moonshot in the Middle East. The Ethereum Foundation's head of special projects, Virgil Griffith, told CoinDesk the nonprofit is partnering with finance experts in the Gulf Coast to show that the world's second largest blockchain is compatible with Islamic law. Islamic finance customs adhere to certain beliefs, including the prohibition of earning interest on loaned funds. So smart move by the folks here at the Ethereum Foundation. Now, I hold XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and so forth. They're my top three in my portfolio as far as shares is XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and then I have other altcoins. So just for the record, guys. Now, Libra continues to face a lot of political scrutiny here, guys. U.S. watchdog group calls for Congress to put a freeze on Facebook's Libra. And then we heard that 4 U.S. lawmakers joined call to freeze Facebook's Libra project. So let's see what happens, man. They are getting a lot of pushback worldwide. So the U.S. Politicians here are getting really feisty here, guys. So that's pretty much the news, guys. I don't think I need to go further here. You know, this is going to be an ongoing battle here, back and forth. We're probably going to hear more politicians against Libra. So let's see what happens. So, guys, what do you think about the news? I know it's a lot, and like I said, patience is the key. Markets go through cycles. We're in the infrastructure stage. We're very early. And do you think Bitcoin can cross over 12,000, by the end of this week? I certainly think it's possible. Let's see what happens. It all depends what people are trying to do in the market too. There's a lot of shorts, people trying to short the market, So fingers crossed, we cross back over 12,000. I know it's a holiday as well, so we'll see what happens this week in the U.S., July 4th. But let's see what happens, guys. I would love for Bitcoin to go back over 12,000, and we continue to head upwards. And I would love to hear what you guys think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Thumbs up if you like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It doesn't cost you anything. Please follow. It helps support the channel. Thank you for your support, and I'll talk to you all later.